Former President Donald Trump has agreed to 3 presidential debates with Vice President Kamala Harris. They'll be hosted by Fox, NBC, and ABC. All will happen next month. Now, Trump, he just spoke to the media just a few hours ago. He told reporters that he was looking forward to going toe-to-toe with Harris on the debate stage.
I just look forward to these debates. I think it's very important that we have them. I hope she agrees to them September 4th, September 10th, September 25th. And I think they'll be very revealing.
Now, today's remarks, if you've been following this, they are a bit of a turning point for the former president. Trump had wavered over whether he plans to debate Harris in the weeks since President Joe Biden withdrew from the race. Let's bring in NBC 10's Sue O'Connell right now. Sue, for days, a lot of people have been asking the question, where is Donald Trump? We've seen everyone else out on the campaign trail.
Yep.
Today, we got our answer during a media briefing at Mar-a-Lago. Trump says that he hasn't had any events because, quote, I'm so ahead in the polls. By the way, this was after saying his campaign has made no changes now that it's running against Kamala Harris and not Joe Biden. Is that true, or is he just sort of trying to play it cool here?
I'm not sure what he's trying to do, Colton, but it's not true that he's far ahead in the polls. We're seeing the gap between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump shrinking, and in some cases, Harris is actually pulling ahead by a bit. But it is true that it appears his campaign has made zero, nada changes in its strategy now that his opponent is Harris and not Biden. Look, I've said this before. I love repeating when I'm wrong. I said that this Trump campaign was the most professionally run campaign of his career. And I think I was right up until about the time that they picked J.D. Vance for vice president, right? Either they've had no plan B in place in case Biden dropped out, or Trump has just given up listening to his campaign managers and is reverting to what he used to do. This press conference or speech or whatever it was today was the same old rambling Trump filled with lies and falsehoods and insults and low energy. Look, this was not the best response to roll out to what the Harris and Walz campaign has been accomplishing.
So, in listening to it today, I had it on at my desk listening to it. Trump just seems unable to accept the fact that Joe Biden has dropped out of the race. He spoke about it a lot today, and he seems hopeful that he'll be able to convince the public, the voters out there, that Harris accomplished a coup or a takeover of the government now that she is the nominee or will soon be the official nominee. So how is that as a campaign message?
It's way too complicated to explain, Colton, and it's also factually wrong. Excuse me. First of all, to be an effective campaign message, most voters have to understand what it is. And all the voters on the Democratic side, for the most part, wanted a change. They wanted different candidates, and they got one, a new one. And then second, primary voters vote for delegates, not for candidates. So while Trump is trying to make this seem like Harris had a coup, the reality is this is how the primaries and the big parties work, including the Republican primary. You know, and finally, Trump lives in a bit of a glass house around this coup charge. His campaign made sure he won Nevada because his campaign arranged both a caucus and a primary, and he won both. So it may stick a little, but I don't think it's going to stick enough for Trump to sway any undecided voters.
All right, I want to talk about the Republican playbook here, and let's talk Tim Walz with that playbook, right? Because Republicans, now they've had a few days to try and define them. They're sort of trying to attack him on 2 primary things that we've seen. One is the fact that he was governor of Minnesota during the protests and the riots in Minneapolis in 2020 after the murder of George Floyd.
Yep.
2, that there's some timeline questions, that he abandoned his fellow service members right before Iraq. Does the Harris campaign, do they need to worry about either of these things here?
Well, I don't know if they need to be worried, but they need to be prepared to address these concerns. Now, regarding the Floyd protests, he deserves some criticism for a slow reaction around his response. But he did later sign the Minnesota Police Accountability Act, which bans police chokeholds and neck restraints. But then President Trump actually called Governor Walz, and there's a tape of it, of course, and congratulated Walz on his response to the riots. So there's that. And then regarding the military service issue, look, veterans take this very, very seriously. But there doesn't seem to be much there, and the explanation is in the details regarding his rank, which some people have been criticizing. Walz did serve as command sergeant major, But he didn't complete the education needed to get that title to retire with it. So he did serve with it. He just didn't retire with it. And while J.D. Vance is saying that Walz didn't deploy, well, Walz did deploy to support the mission in Afghanistan, but he didn't deploy to Afghanistan. He deployed to Italy as support in Operation Enduring Freedom, which is what the Afghanistan effort was about. Now, the third charge is that Walz retired from the military just before his battalion deployed to Iraq. Now, Walz put in for his retirement several months before they got the notice that they were deploying, but some are saying that doesn't seem like enough time to actually do the retirement process. So why did he want to retire then? This is the one issue that's going to get some attention. But either way, when your opposition is headed by a candidate who claimed bone spurs kept him from serving his country, it's going to be hard to make this a core issue.
All right. Sue, thank you. We look forward to seeing those 3 debates ahead in September. And, of course, stay with NBC Tim Boston for continuing coverage of Decision 2024. You can always get the latest information on the race by visiting our website or by downloading our free app.